Welcome to this exciting tutorial, and today we are going to discuss about document object model under JavaScript. So this is one of the most important principle that each and every web developer should know. So in other words, we can just say that DOM is the highway that connects JavaScript and HTML. So it's not possible for you to bring that interactive nature that you have been talking about in the past without the use of document object model. So this particular tool is very important, and for every web developer you need to understand how it works. Now in this particular tutorial I'm going to capture the following. I'm going to capture the definition. I'm going to capture some of the things that DOM is able to do in your web page, and after that you're going to give examples of how you can be able to apply DOM methods into your web page. So let's dive in and see how this can be able to be done. Now when you talk about DOM, basically DOM is a tool that is used by JavaScript to access HTML elements. So it's not possible for you to be able to access HTML elements if you don't know about DOM. So DOM is like a highway that enables you to connect JavaScript and HTML. So when you talk about DOM, basically you mean a tree node structure that corresponds to HTML elements on a page. Now this is the tree node that I'm talking about. When you talk about a tree node, basically you mean there is a root element, and then there are branches, and there's also we can say that there is a parent element, and then we have the child element. Now in this case, for example, we can say that in this particular tree we have got our parent being the HTML, and then we have got our childs being head and body. So the children or the child element of HTML is head and body. So that forms what you call a tree in this particular case. Now there are some children in that particular tree that are in the same hierarchy. So for example, in this particular case we have got the head and the body being at the same level. So going further, you will be able to see of how we are going to use these HTML elements incorporated into our DOM methods. Now, what are some of the things you can be able to accomplish using DOM? DOM is capable to help you to change all the HTML elements and attributes. That is the first thing that DOM can enable you to do. The second thing that DOM can enable you to do is to change the CSS styles in the page. And also DOM is capable to help you to remove existing elements. Then also DOM is capable to add new HTML elements and attributes. And second last is that with the DOM you are going to replace existing elements, and finally you are also able to add an event by use of what you call an event listener. So those are some of the things that DOM can enable you to bring the interactive nature or the dynamic nature into your web page. Now in this particular tutorial we are going to look at different types of DOM methods, and how you're going to apply it into your HTML. Now in order for you to do this, as earlier we in our previous tutorial we talked about how to integrate JavaScript into your HTML. Now if you missed that particular tutorial, it is important that you go and watch it in my YouTube channel. That is how to integrate HTML JavaScript into your HTML page. And we discussed about 4. Whatever I'm going to apply in this particular tutorial is what you call the external JavaScript. So I've created my external JavaScript here file, and here we have the HTML file. Now in this particular case we are going to start with the find. We are going to start with the find HTML element. So in this case we are going to create a very simple HTML code here. So we are going to say that P, then P, we are going to just say my first paragraph, and then we can as well be able to create the second paragraph. We can just say P, and then we can say class, okay, is equal to main. Class is equal to main, and then we can just close that angle bracket. Then you can just say my first main paragraph. Yeah. So I can do that. Then after doing that, I can as well be able to copy this so that I can save time. Control C, and then I can be able to paste it down here. I control V, and then I can be able to change that this is my second main paragraph. So I have got a bunch of paragraphs here, and therefore I want to find one of this particular paragraph. Now if I go to my script.js, what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to use this particular method, document.query. Okay, already before even I finish it, you can see it is just bringing what I want. Query selector, okay, query selector, and then into bracket we can have the element name, that is P, okay, the element name, that is P, a dot. Then what do you want to access? We want to access main. The name of that particular document is the class of that particular element is main. So if you go to my HTML, you can see we said class is equal to main. So if you missed my tutorial on CSS selector, we talked about these selectors. We said we have got 4 types of selectors in CSS. We have got the ID, we have got the class, we have got the element selector, then we have got, so there is a number of those selectors there. So if you missed that video, can you go to my YouTube channel and check that video on CSS selector. Now in this particular case, what I'm going to do is that I'm referencing this particular class. So paragraph, we have the second paragraph that is using class main, and then we have also another paragraph here that is using the same class. Okay, now if I write like this, if I write query selector, basically in this case I'm going to find the first HTML element that matches that CSS selector. Yeah, I'm going to find the first HTML element that matches that specific CSS selector, and in this case my output should give me my first main paragraph. Okay, now if I save this, and then I go to my web browser, and then I refresh my page, I should be able to see that this has been selected. Yeah, so you should be able to see that this particular one has been selected. This is what is going to happen in this case. This one must be selected. Yeah, so that is how you can be able to access the first HTML element through the use of query selector. Okay, so it enable you to find the first item or the first HTML element that has that particular CSS selector. Now what if I want to find multiple those elements that use the same CSS selector? For example, in this particular case, I have got 2 paragraphs that use the same class. Yeah, I want to access these two paragraph that uses the same class. So you just need to change from query selector to query selector all. Query selector all. By so doing, it is going to allow me to be able to select all the the elements that are using the same CSS selector in this particular case. Now in this particular case, paragraph, the two paragraph will be selected. You cannot be able to see the effect right now because I have not been able to apply some CSS styling on it, but once I do that, you'll be able to see that it will be highlighted. Yeah, so I've just decided to paint it the same way, but if I can be able to do some kind of CSS styling on it, you'll be able to see some difference. But for now, just take it like that, this particular paragraph and this particular paragraph have been selected in this particular case. Now going further, you can as well be able to use the DOM to be able to change the HTML element. So you can be able to change the HTML element, basically the content that is in there. Okay, so basically I'm going to create a head. I'm going to create a head tag here. So I'm going to say maybe heading 1, and then I can say my old heading. Yeah, so that is the text that is contained there, but I want to change the content in that particular header. Okay, maybe I can just say that changing HTML element. Yeah, so that is the thing that we are discussing in this case. Okay, so in this particular case, you are saying that H1 my old heading, but I want to change it into my new heading. I want to change the content here into my new heading. So if I go to my CSS file, I'm going to say that let, you can just use the word let heading or header equal to document dot query selector. Okay, and then we are going to say into bracket the element itself is H1. Whatever we want to select in this case is H1. So once H1 has been found, what we want to do in that H1, we are going to say that we want to change, yeah, inner HTML. We are going to change the inner HTML, and we are going to assign a new value, and the new value in this case we are going to say my new heading. So that is what we want to change in this particular case, my new heading. Okay, so if I save this and I also save this particular that, you should be able to see that change. Okay, initially it was, so let me just go back to my code. Here we have said JS. I can just put it as a, I can just change this to be a comment so that you can be able to see what will be displayed first and then what will be displayed next. So if I'm going to do this, I just refresh this, you can see it is supposed to display my old heading. Yeah, but once I have been able to apply inner HTML, in my JavaScript, you should be able to see that change occur to my new heading. Yeah, so that is how you can be able to change the content of your HTML element. Okay, now going further, we also want to be able to change the value of an HTML attribute. Yeah, so you can just say change the value of HTML attribute. So we can just put here change the value of HTML attribute, like that. Then we can just say that we are going to use the anchor, we are going to change the link, we are going to change the link, so we can just say href equal, okay, then after that we can just say www.google.com. yes, that is our initial, that is the attribute in this case, and then we can give this this anchor tag an ID, and the ID that you're going to give it is that my link. I'm going to give it my link as the attribute name, and then you can say connect to Google. Connect to Google. So that is the text that is going to be displayed, so that when you click, it is going to connect you to Google in this particular case. Yeah, but we want to change this attribute, this href, to www.ubtecheagles.com. yeah, so that is my new that is my new URL that I want to use. So this is an attribute. Remember, this is an attribute of anchor tag. This is an attribute of anchor tag. Therefore, I want to change the attribute to be something else. Now, how do you go about it? You just go to our HTML, our JavaScript file. Under our JavaScript file, you can just write that let my link. That is the name of that is the ID that you are using there. So you can just say let my link document dot query selector. Then which element do we want to access? We want to access an element with the ID of hash, yeah, with the ID of hash my link, like that. Yeah, so after doing that, now we are going, after that particular element has been found, or that particular element has been found using the query selector, the next thing that you want to do is to access that particular element. So we are going to say my link dot href. So this is what we want to change. This is what this is the content that you want to change. So we want to change the content in there, and we are going to say www.ubtecheagle.com. yeah, so what I've been able to do in this particular case, I've been able to change the attribute from www.google.com to www.ubtech.com. so if we save this, you should be able to see that change in our link. Yeah, so if I save this and then I try to run this, okay, so there's something that I also need to change here. Go to my HTML, and then I should also save, Control S, and then when I run that, you should be able to see that link added in front there. Yeah, that link should be added in front there. Yeah, so I can get rid of this content. Maybe let's get rid of it, and then when I save this, I go there, I refresh it, I should be able to have that link. Yeah, but when I click on that link, you can see it is taking me to Google, google.com. So when I want to make sure that that particular part has been changed, I go back to my HTML. So there is something that I need maybe to check here. We have got my link. Yeah, so my link is the one that I'm using in this case. And now come here, let my link. Yeah, so we can change this to be that, so that it can be able to differ with this ID that we are using here. And then we are going to say that my link, yeah, like that. So let me save this and also save this side. Try to refresh it, try to refresh our page. Click on this link, it should be able to give us that new link that you have just been able to add in this particular case. So if in case I have an error, let me go to my console. Yeah, so there is something that maybe I can check. This is how you debug your program. You just say type error. We have got the type error, and then you're being given where the error is occurring. So the error is occurring in line 12. So let me go back to my JavaScript code on line 9. So there's some kind of there is some kind of a problem in this particular line. Now to correct that error, I think we can try to make some adjustment in this particular code here. We can just say that we can introduce an if condition and then say if my link, and then you can put those curly brackets, and then you can say my link dot href, yeah, equal sign, and then you can just say maybe http www.facebook. you can use facebook.com. so that is the link that we want to access. Once the link has been found, then we should be able to access this. Else we can just say that console.log, and you can say just not found, console.log not found. Yeah. So I think that is if we correct this and then I try to run this program again, it should be able to go to Facebook. Instead of Google, it should connect to Facebook. Let's try. Okay, still it is having an error, so let's go back to our code again and make some adjustment. Let's go back to our code and make some adjustment. There is some errors that we have been given here. Refuse to execute inline script. So let me go back to my code and then change. Okay, so let me use single quotes here. Okay, let me use single quotes here and then make sure that everything is okay. I think once I've changed this to single quotes, while I change this to single quotes, let me try to refresh this page. Okay, let me go back. It is internet connected, so if I click here, it should take me to Facebook. Boom, that is it. So we have been able to solve that problem. So I think the error was here. I was using double quotations here, so that's why it was not giving me the output. And therefore I've also introduced the if condition, so that in case that particular attribute has been found, it is going to be changed, and if it is not found, at least it is going to give us an output so that we can be able to run it. So that is it about that. We continue to the next element. Go to this next DOM method, how to change the CSS property. So we just want to have some paragraph here. I just want to create some new paragraph, so I'm going to create paragraph tag. I'm going to change to put here some paragraph tag. So I'm going to say paragraph, and this paragraph has got a class, so I'm going to put a class inside here. I'm going to say paragraph class, and then I can just say par. So I can use the word par, and then you can say my first par, my first paragraph, my first paragraph, and then you can have the closing paragraph tag. You can have the closing paragraph tag there. I can as well copy this. I can just copy this like this, copy, and then we can paste it down here. So the same paragraph, but now you can say second paragraph, second paragraph like that. Okay, so I've been able to add two paragraphs, and then I want to change the font of this paragraph. So if I save this, okay, this is not supposed to be in the JavaScript code. It's supposed to be in the HTML. Sorry for that. It's supposed to be under the HTML code here. So that is where I want to put that paragraph. Yeah, so I want it to be below this. I want to place it below there. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that it is below there. That is it. Yeah. That's it. So by so doing, I can as well be able to to save also this side so that I can get rid of that. So if I refresh my page, let me just go back to that. Let me just refresh this page. I should be able to see 2 paragraphs has been added. True. So the 2 paragraphs that I've just added are there. So the next thing that I want to do is that I want to change the font size of these 2 paragraphs. So how do you go about it? To change the font size of these 2 paragraphs, you just go to our JavaScript file, and then you can just say let parse equal to, and then you say document dot query selector all, because there are many, so we are going to use query selector all, and then into bracket you can just put p dot par, and remember this is supposed to be in double quotations. It's supposed to be in double quotation because it's an element, CSS selector for an element. Then down here you can say specifically I want to change the first paragraph, and then I want to say style dot font size, style dot font size is equal to 2em. So I talked about the 2em and the m, yeah, root em and em, yeah. So you should be able to get the difference between the two. If you have a problem with that, you can go to my YouTube channel and check a video that I created on the difference between em and root em. So if I run this, it should be able to change the font size of the paragraph 1. So if I save this and then I just refresh, let me see if there is any difference. There is no change, there is an error. So there is a code error that they're saying par is not defined. So in line number 17, par is not defined. So par is not defined. So instead we are supposed to use parse, because that is where we have assigned it's supposed to be parse, not par. So if I save that and then I go back to my code and then I refresh, it's okay. So the error has been settled, and therefore we should be able to see some growth in this particular font, in this particular paragraph. This one, yeah, this one supposed to have grown a little bit, and it is true there's some kind of an adjustment. But let me put something that is so much significant, that you can be able to see. So let me use something like 10 em, something that is so significant to be seen. So let's try this 10. Okay, so I think it's not changing. Okay, so let me go back to this code, let me check. Okay, I think there's an error here. It's supposed to be capital S, so and then I can just use 2em. Let me just use 2em first so that I can see if there is some change. So when I go to my code and then I run it, yes, you can see it is responding to that CSS styling. So there was that error on font size. It's supposed to be capital S on the font size, so that you can go to realize this particular. So this particular way, in this particular case, once you have been able to employ the style dot, then you give us the property that you want to change. So in this case I want to change the value of the font size to 2em, so you can be able to do that using DOM in this particular case. Now let's move to the next DOM method, and the next DOM method in this case is how to add an HTML element. So maybe I can just create a very simple div here. I can just create a div and then I can say that div is I can give it an ID of div1, and then you can just say that, then you can press enter. In there I just want to create two paragraphs, so I just want to create the first paragraph with an ID of p1. Yeah, then we can have that closing angle bracket, and then you can say this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, and then we can as well be able to duplicate this particular paragraph down here so that we save time. Let me just copy and then paste here. So I can just say this is paragraph 2, and then you can just say this is another, just add another here, this is another paragraph. So what I want to do is that I want to add a paragraph at the end, okay, after the second paragraph, and then I'll also be able to add the paragraph just before the first paragraph. Yeah, so in order for you to add a paragraph at the end of this particular paragraph, so what you need to do is that remember, this is supposed to be in the HTML, so this is supposed to be in the HTML. So let me just create some space here, and then I can put it there. So I've just copied whatever I've written in JavaScript. Maybe I didn't notice that, but once you've been able to write whatever you have written here, you just copy that code and make sure you paste it in your HTML, because that is the HTML. Div is used in the HTML, not in the JavaScript. So you just use it in the JavaScript, maybe to do the DOM, to apply the DOM method. Okay, now in this particular case we have given an ID of div1, and therefore we want to add an element at the end of this particular paragraph, the second paragraph, p2. Okay, so you just come to our JavaScript, and in our JavaScript you just say let para, just the name of that particular variable to be para, and then you can say document dot create element. So you can see it is here, create element, and then we can just say the element that I want to create is a paragraph. The element that I want to create is a paragraph, and then I am supposed to create the node, because we said DOM work with the node, so I need to create the node. So I'm saying that the node in this case is equal to document dot create text node. So I want to create a text node, So if I type it correctly, it should give me a text node. Automatically you can see it is here. So a text node, and this text node is that it should contain this is new paragraph. Yeah, so that's the text that I want it to be entered there, and then I can say para. Now to be able to add at the end of that, append, just say append child. Yeah, append child. So I want to append the child at the end of that particular, all these paragraphs that are using those, after those paragraphs that have already been created. So I want to add that paragraph at the end of those paragraphs that have already been created. So then I can be able to add an append child, and then I put there node, because that is what I want to do. Now I can just say let, let element equal to, so where do you want to position it? I want to position it, or I want to put that particular element, I want to position that particular paragraph inside the div. So I need to specify the parent where I want to position that particular div. So document dot query selector, and then we can just say hash div1, so that's the name of the div that I've just created. Yeah, and then I can say element dot now append child, element dot append child, and then I can say para. Yeah, so what is happening in this code is very simple. In this particular case, we are saying that we are assigning the new element that we are creating to this particular variable called para. So our new variable will be para. Okay, now the node is basically going to define the content that is going to that particular element that you have just created. Now in this particular case, we are saying that that particular new element that you created, kindly let it contain this is new paragraph. Okay, now what we are going to do, since we have already assigned the new element to para, so we are saying that para dot append child, and then into bracket you are going to put node. So what you are saying in this case, in that element that you have created, kindly be able to write inside there, this is my new paragraph. Yeah, now once you have been able to specify where the element that you want to create and the content that is supposed to be created, and you have already appended in that particular element the text that it needs to be displayed, then the next thing you need to do is to specify where that particular element that you've created is supposed to be added. Now here we are going to say that that particular element is supposed to be added in the div1. Remember, we created the div here, so this is our div1, and that is where that particular content is supposed to go into. Now after finding that element, the div1, we are supposed to append the child par. So by doing append child para, basically we are saying that, can you be able to put it as the last element in that div? Can you put that element as the last in that particular div? Now if I save this and then I refresh my page, by default you should be able to see the new paragraph added. But here we have some error. Here we are saying that private field must be declared to enclose the class. So there is an error in that line. So div, then we are saying that div is not supposed to have that. So let me go back to my code and check what the error is. That is true, we have got an error, so it needs to be enclosed into those brackets. Need to be enclosed in those quotations, not bracket, quotations. So if I save this and then I go back to my code and then I refresh, then you should be able to see the new paragraph added. So you can see the new paragraph has been added at the end of that particular div. Okay, now if for instance I want to add that element before the existing paragraph, so you need to use the concept of insert before. So whatever we have just done, but basically what you need to do at the end here where they say element append child, you are supposed to say insert before. Just want to change something here. Yeah, so if I say insert before, basically I've been able to specify that I want that content to appear before this particular element. So there's a typo error here. We are saying that argument but only one is presented. Yeah, true. So there's an error here. So what you need to do, give us the existing and then give us the other one, the new one. So we can just say something new here. Okay, so we need to define the child. So I think here we can just put the child. So we can just say that let child, and just say that let child equal to document let child be equal to document dot query selector. Then we want to define the child. So the child, in this case, we are going to use let's use hash, then we can say p1. So p1 is going to be our child in this case. P1 is going to be our child in this case, like that. So hope p1 is a class, is an ID, yes, so it's supposed to use hash. Okay, so if I put that, and then inside there, insert before requires that you pass two arguments, the new and the existing. So this is our new, para is our new, and therefore we want to pass the child. We want just to pass the child here. Say the child. So we have got, this is the new and this is the existing. So by so doing, you do that, you save, and then you refresh this. You should have the new appear at the top of that particular div. So you can have the new appear at the top of this particular div. So these are some of the very these are some of the concepts that some of the DOM methods that you can apply in your JavaScript or in your HTML, and then we have been able to see of how you can be able to use them. Okay, so kindly go through this tutorial, and then let me know if you have any question in the comment section, so that we can be able to iron out together as you continue learning in this particular case. Kindly remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also you can be able to support me by turning the maybe you can be able to get the notification when I create the next video, when you turn the notification button on. Thank you so much for now, and bye bye.